Hey friends, come with me and let's review for this for your exam coming up. So, just as a reminder, what is osmosis? It's a diffusion. What the heck is diffusion? If I spray cologne right here, it'll spread out. That makes sense. It'll spread out, and eventually the whole area will smell like cologne. That's diffusion. Well, osmosis is diffusion. It's a diffusion, not of cologne, of water. It's a diffusion of water through a membrane from area high concentration to low concentration. That's all osmosis is. So just try to remember that and you'll understand what osmosis is. It's the diffusion of water as it goes into or out of a membrane. It doesn't require energy, so it's passive. If you have a friend that's passive, they just sit there. They don't require energy. If you have a friend that's active, they're very energetic. So just try to remember what that means. Active transport requires energy. Passive transport, it just happens. Osmosis is an example of passive transport. It just happens. It's diffusion of water through a membrane. Cool. We don't need to know this, so I'm going to skip over it. You can take a look if you want to. Um, so, if I had to go against the flow, think about like when we're at school in the before times and it's really crowded in the halls, and I have to like, if I want to push you out of my classroom into the hall, that's going to take energy on my part. I'm pushing you against the concentration gradient. The flow of traffic goes this way. If you want to go against the grain, that requires energy. If you want to go against the concentration gradient, that requires energy. You have to be active. So look and see where is it more crowded. If I'm going into that already crowded zone, that's going to take energy. That's active transport. It requires ATP, the molecule of energy in the cell. ATP, energy. That's it. The cell membrane is selectively permeable. It selects which molecules come and which molecules go. It's made of a lipid, a phospholipid bilayer. It's got little proteins and little tubes that lets some molecules come and go, and it can be very specific. So pause it right now. Okay, and now let's look at these answers. So the biomolecule that helps transport, that's proteins. Let me move myself. Move, Marshall. Um, so energy is used during active transport. Endocytosis, I'm bringing in. Exocytosis, I'm exiting from the cell. Facilitated diffusion. People have a hard time with this one. Facilitated diffusion is diffusion that's regular, but this time I have to go through a protein channel. It's regular diffusion, but through a protein channel. That's it. So take a look at those guys. Then go ahead and pause it again. Pause. Okay, cool. Here's what I came up with. Viruses are not alive. One thing they have in common with prokes, pro no, nukes ukes. Ukes have a nucleus, pros no nucleus. One thing I can think of is in common between prokes and viruses is I can use vaccines to prevent them. Now for prokaryote I can only use antibiotics. Antibiotics don't work on the virus. Ukes have nukes, they're plants and animals and fungi. One thing that your cells have in common with prokaryotic cells is that they're cells. So those are both types of cells. One thing all three of these have in common, I had a hard time with this one, they're made of biomolecules. All life is made of biomolecules. So take a look at that three-ski Venn diagram. Um, so look at these guys. Just know that the chloroplast is needed to convert solar energy into chemical energy. It takes sunlight and turns into sugar. That's called photosynthesis. Plant cells and animal cells. Make sure you know the difference between those. Plant cells have everything our cells have, plus three. So some people are like plant cells have animal cells have a mitochondria, plant cells have a chloroplast. That's only half true. Plant cells have both. Do you see it right there? Do you see the mighty mitochondria? Plant cells have everything our cells have, plus three. That large central vacuole, the boxy rigid cell wall, and the chloroplast to do that photosynthesis. These are the layers of organization, levels of organization. Cool, good to know. That horse looks kind of gross inside out. And we don't need to know that guy. Pause this guy right here and take a look at it. Um, Lipids are little long-term energy storage. Carbs are for sugar rush, instant energy. Ooh, I'm about to get kicked off here. Let me move this over. We'll talk way more about nucleic acids when it's time to. And like, look at this. Like, man, I just like crowded over here. Proteins can be both structural for hair and skin, but also enzymes, the workers of the cell. I hope this review was helpful. Go back and watch what you need to. I'm about to get kicked off. I hope this was good, and I believe in you. Go get them.